maybe we can take any questions that come up. Okay, Richard has, you could pass the microphone down to Richard.
There's two buttons on the mic. The lower one you want to push up, the upper one you want to push to the right, and it will be on.
Hello? Okay. Anāthapiṇḍika is a sati? Is it S-A-T-I?
No.
No.
In Pali it's sati.
Sati, yeah.
Sati. In Sanskrit it's shreshti, which it's a term that indicates a very wealthy person who provides finances. I think his role, probably they started out originally, I think this is the speculation, as gold merchants.
Yeah.
And then through dealing in gold, they accumulated a lot of wealth. And then they took on the role of providing wealth to the king.
Right.
With the assumption that the king will eventually pay them back.
So he would have been a Vaisya, right?
Probably he was from the Vaishya class.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the thing that I'm wondering about is it's saying he was an upright man.
Yeah.
So I assume that means that he wasn't violating any of the precepts.
Yeah.
So you got the precept of right livelihood.
Yeah.
And you got the precept of non-killing.
Yeah.
Right. Meanwhile, when he's supporting the state, I mean, he's basically a taxpayer. But at that time, there was like not more than 1% of the population that did that, right? So when he's supporting the state, he is the assumption that he's not thereby supporting killing, and when he's making his money by trading in gold and such, the assumption is that's right livelihood?
Yeah, first I'll take the second part.
Okay.
I'm assuming that gold would have been used as a medium of exchange.
Yeah.
And so this would be an essential medium of exchange. Yeah.
Well,
so I don't see that it's a wrong livelihood.
No, I suspect that at the time, gold was used by relatively few people. It was the rich who had gold.
Yeah.
Other people would have had the same kind of problem that's described in the Bible in Jerusalem, where, for instance, people were obligated to pay their taxes in Roman currency, which they didn't have. And so the first thing, I mean, that's why the money changers' tables were in the temple, right? So first thing they had to do was to go and exchange something to get the money, to get, to be able to pay. And I assume that's the status that gold would also have had, so that it was an instrument of oppression, because the conversion rates for the gold and so on could be very easily manipulated. And so people probably felt that dealing in gold was quite oppressive and exhausting to them, as for a farmer, for instance, right? So I'm wondering if that is participation in that kind of system, that's not a violation of a precept?
Yeah, first, I mean, I don't know the details of Anāthapiṇḍika's way of, the details of his livelihood. It's just that in the commentaries he's described as a sati. And what I've read is that the sati class had the function of, it arose from probably from the goldsmiths who were making ornaments, and then when gold came to be used, it became the medium of it came to be used as the medium of exchange. And so the satis were the class that had gold, and then they would provide gold to the king. Or they would provide gold to the king to conduct the affairs of state. Pasenadi was also a disciple of the Buddha. There are accounts of him engaging in a defensive war. I don't know the details of.
Okay. All right.
But I also just trust that Anāthapiṇḍika, as a noble disciple, would not have himself been directly responsible for killing and oppressing others.
Directly. But then the way the precepts are written, for instance, I won't approve of, won't support, and so on, it seems to include indirectly too. And so what I'm trying to discover is what's the index of indirectness that's crucial here? I mean, I understand that, you know, it's quite plausible that in his personal relationships, he's a very decent man, okay? My question is about what his impact on other people through these indirect relationships.
This I don't, I don't know the details, but one thing I should mention about Anāthapiṇḍika, first, Anāthapiṇḍika was not his actual proper name, but it was a sobriquet, the designation given to him, and it means, Anātha means the helpless, especially orphans and widows and poor people. And Pinda means originally a lump, and it has the implication of giving food. So Anāthapiṇḍika was one who gave food and other provisions to, to the orphans, widows, and the poor.
Well, is that kind of the equivalent in Buddhist, is that kind of the Buddhist equivalent of, say, seeking indulgences in medieval Christianity? Is sort of like, I've done these bad deeds, so these good deeds will compensate for them.
No, it said that he was a very compassionate man and did this out of compassion.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Way in the back, Suki.
When Anāthapiṇḍika called for Sāriputta, the purpose of calling, I thought, was really to ease the pain. That was what I thought, because he was in such a terrible pain. But actually, when Sāriputta came, his Dhamma talk was like a really preparation of dying. So, did he give any? I mean, it's that Dhamma talk also is just for easing the pain, or that he didn't really care? I mean, that was not the purpose of Sāriputta.
By easing the pain, that would be the job for a physician. You mean to console?
Right.
To console and uplift?
So no one can console.
I think, we don't know so much of the details of the background. Whether Anāthapiṇḍika thought that he was on the verge of death or just thought he was seriously ill and needed some inspiration, that I don't know. But it seems that Sāriputta must have sized up the situation, and realized that Anāthapiṇḍika didn't have much time left. And so his discourse, Sāriputta's advice or his exhortation, the way I understand it, was based on the understanding that Anāthapiṇḍika is about to pass away.
So that was the Dhamma talk on preparing for the death.
I think that was Sāriputta's intention.
Right.
Then
the Sāriputta says you should train thus, and all those. I'm not really uncertain there. How that's like you thinking. I will not do this. I will not attach on this. Those are all thinking. Now that's it. How? Is there any other train that he has to do it in any other suttas? Does it show? It's just the thinking there.
Well, it becomes more than thinking, but it becomes a way of training the mind when, excuse me, when these thoughts of clinging to the sense bases, the sense objects, the feelings, when those thoughts of clinging arise, then he's being trained to dispel those thoughts. And probably, we don't have the full discourse, but maybe Sāriputta also said you should train by contemplating all of these things as being netang mama, neso hamasmi, na meso ata. This is not mine, this is not I, this is not myself. And so even though he's lying down, and though he's very weak because of the illness, but he could still direct his mind to contemplate in that way. That I don't remember, but there is another sutta in the Samyutta Nikaya. This is the Sotapatti Samyutta, the collected discourses on stream entry, where Anāthapiṇḍika is very ill. And I think it's Sāriputta that he sends for. It could be Sāriputta or Ananda. I have to look at it again. And on that occasion, apparently, they could see that the illness was not as severe as in this case. So the monk who was speaking, whether Ananda or Sāriputta, then reminded Anāthapiṇḍika that he was a stream enterer, that he possessed the factors of stream entry, and so that he could rejoice in that.
Hi, Bhante.
Oh, yeah.
I just have a couple of questions.
Okay.
One of them is kind of a follow-up to what Suki was asking. Would it be correct to say that the term clinging could be defined as self-identification? Right?
I'd say self-identification is one aspect.
And
There's self-identification and also what I would call
craving.
taking possession of or claiming possession of.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think, so when you say I will not cling, it's kind of like you still have like that I.
No, this
It's
is
not.
just a verb of ordinary usage.
Oh, okay. All right.
In
And-
fact, even the way it's expressed, it even doesn't use in Pali, the pronoun isn't necessary. So when you have the verb upadi sami, it's
Right.
just the first person verb. So the I is implicit in it, but
But it's not, okay.
yeah.
And then my other question was, do you know the reason why lay people chose white as a color back in those days? Is it just
I think
arbitrary?
it indicates, it's just that it indicates purity,
Oh,
because
yeah,
they're
okay.
observing the precepts of purity.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, I want to go on now, because I said we were going to do 2 suttas.